Yes. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it is September the 4th. It's September already. Oh, my goodness. And this is Team No Sleep, Social Impact of Sport. Don't worry about me, but my name is James Hicks. That guy right there, that's who you came to see.
Nah,
Montell
not at
Thoughts.
all.
Look at
Not
him.
at all, brother, man.
Look
Welcome
at
to the show,
crispy and
everybody.
everything.
Welcome to
Look
the
at,
show.
yeah, but listen, we going to get into it. We see, I said, I told folks to hold please, but while we were getting logistics in place, we got them there. Dan Roth is in the building. He bouncing back from multiple shows. Like he says he wants to talk to you. He's got some business for you.
Okay.
Wants to talk to you. Got an opportunity. I'm not sure what that
Okay.
is. Just make sure I get 2% off the top. Whatever the collaboration may be. Listen, man, we got a lot of stuff to get into, and we start off just a little lighthearted right there just now. But we got a lot of stuff to get in. It's been a bad. Man, it's only the 4th. September's been bad. September's been bad just globally in terms of things that are happening, socially impacting around the world of sports. But before we even get into that, let's talk about what's going on in Georgia, man, because this don't make no sense about what's going on in Georgia, where again can't go to school without the possibility of something going down with one of your fellow classmates coming on campus, mad at something. We don't know what it is yet, but 14-year-old kid who is a student at this school in Georgia, goes there, starts shooting. Four people lost their lives, 9 others injured, all kind of chaos that has happened. And imagine if this was one of your children involved in this. I've been in this type of a situation with my daughter, who, and I think I remember I told you about this, right? Where there was a active shooter situation at her high school. And man, again, just imagine from a parent perspective. But let me take up myself out of this, and let's talk about the parents of the ones that have lost their loved ones today.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, as parents, we think that school's a safe haven, right? You get them up in the morning, you feed them breakfast, they pack their lunch, and you get ready for school, and then you take them to school, or they go to school, and you think they're in a safe haven from that, 8 o'clock in the morning till 3 o'clock in the afternoon. All of us think that way, especially the longer your kid goes to school, it kind of become the norm, right? You think that's a safe haven for your kid to go, and unfortunately, these times that we're in now, that's no longer the case. We never know when somebody's going through something, and unfortunately, today's society and these young people feel that it's okay to take their pain out on someone else. And these situations happen too often, right? No one's paying attention to what's going on, and then these situations happen. It's kind of somber, man. Our prayers go out to the families and the parents of the people that lost their lives and the people that are hurt, and even the young man that's involved. I mean, there's obviously something that's really bigger than, or that person at least deems as bigger than life, that he had to go to these extreme circumstances. I just get upset because it's becoming the norm.
Yeah.
We're starting to see these stories way too often.
Wait till folks listen. Wait till I go down the list of the other stories we have to go into. But I want to hit you with this, man. I'm not sure if you read into some of the story as well. So again, 14 one, we as a society expect or feel that there are 2 locations, maybe 3 locations that should be safe, maybe 4. Okay, 4 locations: a hospital, church, home, and school. Those 4 locations, I should be able to be comfortable going to with my family, sending my high school kids from 8 to 3, putting them under the tutelage of a principal, of an assistant principal, of a teacher, of a PE coach, and all that, and not have to worry about something like that. Those are four locations on this planet that I think we as citizens can feel comfortable. But now it's eroding. And this young man, 14 years old, this behavior or this apparent type of behavior and situation isn't new. The suspect, a 14-year-old student at Appalachia, was questioned by law enforcement last year regarding anonymous tips about online threats to commit a shooting at school. So that was at 13 years old. This same cat was talking about doing this.
Yep. Now think about it. He transcends into the high school arena, right? More pressure. If you already had these ideas at junior high, think about going to high school where he's being around more pressure, more situations that are triggering him or her. And it escalated to a point, like we said, that he had to do something. It's just funny that, law enforcement questioned this person, and the school, I don't know if the school had the resources, but there's not a watchful eye on that young person. When anything happens, right? Anything happens, it should be a watchful eye. And to be honestly, if there's a police situation where they have to come out and talk to a kid about him doing online threats, at this point in nowadays, that kid needs to be removed from school and be homeschooled, because he's obviously a threat to others. And then we've seen the warning signs too many times, right?
Yeah.
In almost all the cases, it's been a social media post or something that they're gonna snap, they're gonna kill, or they've been in these situations. The Georgia police actually went out and talked to the person, which is great, and kind of, I think they diffused it from doing the junior high school, but it reflamed up, and now it happened in high school, and now there's 10 people's lives affected. There's 9 victims, and then the shooter. And not to mention the families of all them that have been affected. So hundreds of people have been affected by this one young man's act of violence. And it's sad, man, because again, it's just becoming a norm. We used to be really shocked when these stories come out. Man, you don't even get shocked no more.
I'm not, bro. You remember 3 years ago when we started down this path, right? I would literally get incredibly emotional, and I would tear up, and I would, after the show, I've told you, and I've committed, I'd be sitting on the floor in the fetal position, going through the conversation in my head about these particular stories. Now, again, it's just, and I wish I wasn't like that now. I wish I wasn't so numb to these situations, because they're happening every single day, but they're getting younger. Or, we see it all the time now because everyone has the phones, everyone has immediate access. But man, the elementary schools, the junior high school, now the high school, 14, 13-year-old, I got it highlighted right here. They went and talked to the suspect and his father last year. His father made a joke. He has hunting guns. He said, the father stated he has hunting guns in the house, but the suspect did not have unsupervised access to them.
That's a lie. It's a lie. I mean, as you see the situation, he got to it unsupervised, and he did he did this thing, this horrendous act. Man, it's just sad, man. I mean, it really is disheartening, because, like you said, there's only 4 safe havens we believe that are safe havens for our kids, and now they're not. And not by a little bit. They're not by a lot. Like, you just can't do it, man. Your kids got to now always be on alert for every situation. Us as parents have to always be on alert as well. And who do we hold accountable for these types of situations, right? We're country all about having somebody accountable, right, for their actions.
Yeah.
Who do we hold accountable?
Yeah, we're quick to do that. Yeah, we're quick to do that, right? To make an example out of someone for whatever the case may be. But
so who do we hold accountable for this now? How will those families ever heal from the situation? And I mean ever. If anyone's ever lost someone to gun violence, you never heal from it. You never do. And I'm speaking from experience.
Mm-hmm.
So you never heal from that. How are these people going to heal from that? We're in probably most financial. I mean, there's just so much going on, and so much pressures on adults. I can't imagine the pressure that's on a young person to make him do something like this. You know what I'm saying? And then when he does it, who do we hold accountable? Is the dad held accountable?
Yeah, I mean,
obviously the person is, the 14-year-old is, but I mean, is he even developed? Is his mind even developed? He's already going through these situations. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he shouldn't do the crime. He shouldn't He shouldn't have to be punished for his crime. But we're punishing a young person that doesn't even fully emotionally or mentally develop at that point.
But they know
And
what
I'm
an AR.
not, and I'm
They
not
know how
for not
to
waiting.
load and
I'm not
fire an
against fun.
AR-15 though. They know how to load and fire an AR-15.
And you know how I feel about that. If you do the crime, hey, you got to expect to do the time. But at some point, we got to figure out what's going on and who's accountable. More people have to be accountable than just that person, because him at 14 can't afford to buy AR-15. He can't even work.
Yeah.
Him at 14 can't afford to buy bullets. He can't even work. Him at 14 didn't go out there and show himself how to shoot an AR-15. Someone else showed him how to shoot an AR-15. So at what point are we going to hold more people accountable for situations like this? You can't just say the 14-year-old went off.
Yeah, I don't want to hear nothing about. I don't want to hear nothing about Second Amendment rights. At this point, I don't want to hear nothing about that. I want to understand why. Because so now we're going Monday morning quarterback this. Now we're going to sit back and we the third person removed and say, what was it? Was it something? Somebody said something to him? Was it a grade that he got? Was someone was bullying him, picking him? I'm sure it'll all come out. But again, is that the reason? Is that what that makes you go from 0 to 100? Is that what makes you say Tuesday night when you go home from class, you're going to go get your daddy's AR-15, you're going to load it up, you're going to put it in your backpack, boom, Wednesday morning, 7 o'clock when you go to school, you're going to go do this thing? Why does that finality have to be why does that have to be the end result? Back in the day, man, listen, I would meet you out in the playground and we would fight. And we would fight about it. We would roll around. Someone would end up getting hurt. But then we'd go home, and about a week later, we'd be cool again.
But, when we were growing up, and even now, I think, when situations made us mad, we go through a situation where when we go home, there's a cool-off period, right? Like this young man has had this since he was in the 8th grade, because he made vital threats online. Something festered a year later to where he decided, it's time to pull the trigger. And me, all honestly, I'm sick of it. And people may not say, well, how does this involve sports? This involves a whole community, which includes sports, because now that whole community is shocked. That high school football team will never play the same after this incident, regardless. That basketball team, girls basketball team, will never play the same after this incident. The water polo team will never swim the same after this incident. The rival school that plays against them will never play the same after this incident. So it affects more than just, this is obviously a bigger conversation in sports, but it's a conversation that people within sports need to have, because this affects the whole ecosystem of your high school years in that community.
Yeah. You think about it. So class is probably canceled for the next couple of days, right? Again, Greek counseling, things like that. So classes probably canceled. Monday when they come back, they got to relive it again, being on the site. They got to have all of the flowers and the candles out there. So they got to go through it again physically in the location. Kids got to walk through the halls of where they were today when they heard the shot. So they got to go through the situation again.
Yeah, trauma. You got to relive the
14, 15-year-olds.
Yeah. Well, yeah. 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds got to relive this trauma.
Right.
For the next, for the next, 1, 2, 3, for at least the next 6 months, right? Because let's go
6 months if they're lucky. This could be ingrained in them forever. But for
forever.
the 6 months,
will
if they're lucky, go ahead.
Go away. I think it will be engraved in forever. The people from Columbine, that was the first one that was ever publicized. Those people still have the effects of that.
Yeah.
They still talk about it. The people that were there still remember and understand what happened. We're fast forwarding 20 plus years later, and here we go again. And people don't think that affects them. The city, the community of Columbine has never been the same, ever. So how we going? You expect this town in Georgia to be the same now after this, or any of those situations when the young dude killed those kids in Texas, about the people that killed at the daycare in Boston and Massachusetts? Those situations, man, don't go away, and it definitely doesn't go away for the victim's family. So my question is, who are we going to start holding accountable? When are we going to start holding gun companies accountable? Why do you keep making such a high-power rifle that would do damage like that to somebody? You're right to bear arms.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I know where you're going, and we can go that route if we want to, but let's talk about a symptom first, or a band-aid to the situation. I want to start with the band-aid first because we got some comments here from the community talking about putting in metal detectors. All right, can we have a deterrent at the front door of the school? Because we don't want to lock the doors of the school. Right, again, that's almost like locking the doors of a church. You don't want to lock your kids in. That's a fire hazard. That's all kind of hazard. You don't want to put chain link over the doors of a school. But before you walk in these doors, what are your thoughts about going to this extreme and warning folks as they come in, and metal detection and emptying the pockets?
That's one precautionary mechanism, but that doesn't stop it.
Yeah, again, that's why I thought it was a bad
Come on, man. I mean, let's think about it. Prisons are the most probably secure place, right? They can't keep drugs and weapons out of prison, right? So what makes you think you're gonna be able to do it at a school just like that has so many open things? And do we have a security in place to be able to monitor all those places where there are those open spots? I think it's a great deterrent. Don't get me wrong. It's a start, right? It is a start. And I think schools are gonna have to start going there. But then again, this is what we're gonna run into. We're in a political year, so let's even talk about it. Where are these schools supposed to get the budget from? Where are these schools supposed to get the extra $200,000 to put metal detectors at every door? Where are they supposed to get the money to hire extra security to walk around every campus in the United States? Like, where? We complain about it all the time, right? We cut from everything else except for military. Where are they supposed to get this money and do all that stuff?
I say private funding. I say, listen, I say some of these private millionaires, billionaires should chip in a couple of $100,000.
I think their taxpayer money should. If they're going to get bumped up to that higher tax rate,
y'all can cancel me all you want to. Y'all can cancel me and Montell all you want to. I think y'all that got $1, $2, $3, $5 million liquid in your account. Think about it. If your kid was at this Appalachian High School today and was one of the 2 students or 2 teachers that's not at home for dinner tonight.
I don't know, man. I don't have the answer. I don't even know where to begin to start when it comes to these types of things. I just something needs to be done. And Kevin Cox, I appreciate your comment, man. I think you're right. I think that's the first level of a deterrent. Have metal detectors, but we got to also look and start to be practical about this thing because we already know our society comes down to dollars and cents.
Mm-hmm. So let's do this. Let's keep going down this path, and we can go bounce back and forth. But I want to keep your energy high as we talk about the situation, folks. Keep chiming in on the comments. I see them here. Appreciate you. We got this that happened today, so prayers to everyone that's involved. And then again, I always talk about that domino effect because we're not even we 4th person removal. I don't know anyone at that school, but again, we're talking about it because it affects us as good people of the planet. Now, yeah, the Georgia situation, we got 200 in shooting after a New Jersey high school football game.
Yep.
Going to a football game, somebody in the stands get to acting up, get to acting a fool. Oh yeah, I'll tell you what, you said something about me, you said something about my mom, you said something about my best friend, you scored on me, whatever the case may be, they get to shoot.
Yep.
So that's in New Jersey. We were just in Georgia. We're now in New Jersey. Another situation. Where we at now? We are in, I don't know where we are now. Euclid. Where is this at? Euclid is Ohio. 17-year-old dead. 14's injured in a shooting following a football game. August 31st. 17-year-old dead. So again, I'm talking about ages right now is what I'm looking at. So you had a 14's injured, but 17-year-old dead. These are all sports related. We're the social impact of sport. The big one that hit the news, the big one that hit CNN, CNBC, ABC, and all of that. Think about the one about the teen here in San Francisco that went and shot Ricky Pearsall. Rookie for San Francisco 49ers. Right in front of Union Square. Listen. Sit up straighter. I've been to Union Square many a time with my family, shopping. I know exactly where this happened. Why do I know exactly where this happened? Because I actually botched a robbery. And I was telling my wife this the other day. I botched a robbery that someone was running down the stairs outside of Nordstrom with a handful of purses. I tripped him as he was running out, and the cops caught him. So I botched a robbery right there in front of Union Square. I know X marks the spot, but I know exactly where this happened. Right. So I, again, removed from this exact situation, but I know how, where, when this happened. 17-year-old high school kid. Saw Ricky out there getting in his car, saw his Rolex on his watch, went up there and approached him. A little scuffle ensued. Look, I ain't gonna give you my watch. 17-year-old boy shot him in the chest. Ricky's okay. I'm not gonna say he's all right, but Ricky's okay. Right? Didn't hit any vital organs. So, and he, man, it's tough because he was back on the practice field a few days later. But promising rookie for the San Francisco 49ers, Ricky Pearsall, shot in the chest by a 17-year-old in front of the mall at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Man, I mean, we're talking about 4 shootings in the match for 4
Just like
days.
Dan said, there's so much this week. Much this week.
Let's kind of go back. So the two high school football
you got to breathe a little bit, right? You got to breathe a little bit. The tsunami of stuff that's going on.
You know, the 2 high school football games are really, really, damn, like another safe haven, a family event. People go out there to support the kids playing and support their friends playing and support everything that's going on out there. And now we have to deal with, worrying about our lives, right? And two events, same weekend. And we already know, well, this is the beginning. This is only game 2. This is only week 2 in the football season of high school football, week 2, week 3. So we got a long way to go. These situations are already popping off and escalating. And again, most of our viewers didn't know anything about the New Jersey shooting or Ohio shooting. That was buried on the back page somewhere. No one was talking about it. No one even cares to talk about it. And this is crazy because it affects everybody. Everyone, every high school student, it should affect. Because we get situations like Georgia. They come on. This happened at the event, but again, the trauma. Those kids have never played the same they played before. They'll never play the same exact way. And if I'm a parent, what's the answer? That's what probably better approach. What's the answer? Do I take my kid out of the school? Do we run away from the problem and try to go somewhere else and try to avoid it?
Do you homeschool now, right?
Do you homeschool? I mean, we're in a situation where you can no longer run from it almost. There's no running from it no more. Because where are you going to go?
Literally.
Let's be honest. I mean, let's be literally.
Where are you going to go?
Unless you go plan on sheltering your kids and all the way to they graduate high school, which even then they're not safe in college because we've had incidences at University of Virginia with shooting and so on and so on.
Yeah.
There've been shootings all over the place in these things. And where do we go? Again, man, who's accountable? Everybody gets accountable except for the gun company, gun manufacturer. And granted, they didn't put the gun in the person's hand, but they damn sure sold it to somebody for it to get to their hand. And you know what? If I go to McDonald's and I buy a cup of hot coffee that's too hot, guess what? I get to sue McDonald's. Regardless.
It's happened before. It's happened before, yeah.
But I have the right to sue them. How come if you buy a toy and your child chokes off of it, guess what? You have the right to sue the toy manufacturer. Right? Why we get wrongful deaths with guns, no one has the right to sue the gun manufacturers. Because I bet you if you started suing them and seeing lawsuits pop up against them, you'll stop making so many guns. That means there won't be so many accessible. That means we won't have so many shooters.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple.
It's just here's where again I'm gonna be the doubting Thomas. That's too simple. Why? But why is it too simple? Is it too much of? Is it make too much common sense? Listen, folks in the audience, if you want to, we can get political. Who tonight? Who cares? Because we got 1, 2, 3. We got 4, and I got another story about a horrific situation that's happened from a domestic violence perspective.
We'll talk about that one too. But
yeah, right.
But I'm saying either the alternative is stop making so many guns, or I told you before, why don't you make a chip in every gun so it can be trackable, traced, and tracked wherever it goes and where it's been shot at. For every new gun you make, put a doggone chip in it. We do it on everything else. How come we can't chip guns? Guess what? Now, crimes are very easier to solve if you use one of those guns. Guess what? We know exactly where the gun was shot at and where it was located at. So that way you can pinpoint exactly who was in that situation, who was in that surrounding, and who used it. Like, if we really go here,
I think that's another good protective band-aid to the whole situation. I don't think that solves everything because we've had the
think about it though. With this kid with the AR-15, if it'll be traced and someone says bing bing bing, it's alerting there's a gun in the school zone.
Yeah.
Police can get there hella fast. There's a gun in the school zone. Let's put there. That's the ultimate deterrent. That's the deterrent. Wow, 6 police showed up all of a sudden. What's going on? There's a gun in the school zone somewhere. Matter of fact, we know it's Mr. Montell Allen's gun is roaming around. And it's broken the school zone. It's broken within 300 feet of a school. All flag. That would deter it. That would stop it.
Yeah. I mean, so again, I think that's a great deterrent, and I think that's a good Band-Aid to this wound. But where I was going, and Kevin Cox is the smartest person on this planet right here. I can make a gun out of plastic with my 3D printer that's non-traceable.
Agreed.
Just from my mindset, because I live in this technology, and you do too, right? You live in this technology world. I can put a gun.
I agree, but Kevin Cox, how many people got a 3D printer? They don't have it. And maybe that might change if they start putting traces on the guns. But right now, that kid didn't buy his AK-40, whatever, 15, AR-15 from a print. He bought it. He got it from somewhere. So just think about it for a minute. If there was a like you said, a low jack, or there was a chip on there, and that gun got it within, I don't know, 500 yards of a school, maybe 1,000 yards of a school, says this is a school zone, and we can detect when there's guns there that are coming in, that are in that moving around. It doesn't have to go to the school, just going somewhere. There's a gun there. Police should be automatically alerted to go to stop another. We're not going to have another mass shooting. Guess what? If there is a big concert or something, and all of a sudden you see guns going there, hold on, police presence over on the north side. There's a detection of somebody with a gun over there. I mean, when are we going to start to be proactive in securing our kids instead of being reactive? And it's just disheartening, man. Like I said, these stories don't make the front page no more. We're kind of becoming desensitized to it. It makes no sense to me. And these are our kids. These are our future. These are the people that are supposed to take us to the next generation. These are our kids, me and your kids.
I'm tired of seeing stories like, again, even though I say we're desensitized to it, just because it happens so much, and I hate being that way. I hate being desensitized to it, because I don't want to be involved with this type of a press conference where the sheriff themselves, who, hate will not prevail. Sheriff gives emotional update about Georgia shooting. So these folks are. I give the police a hard time a lot, because I've had a couple of run-ins, but listen, but they out there trying to do their thing as well. So shouts out to them for that. But again, when even the police are out there and they're saying, "Come on, man, I got to come to a high school because a 14-year-old did something like this. I got to go to the football game just because your squad lost, or just because you stepped on my shoes. I got to deal with this. I got to go to another ball game and deal with this. I got to deal with high profile people in a very affluent neighborhood and deal with this."
Man, I'm sorry. My audience, I usually have a lot of energy, but I just don't have it for this, man. It's just tough, man. It's just tough because There's
And see,
to me, there's like
so
there's no
Marvin,
reason.
I mean, we're not even talking about the gangs yet, right? These 4 stories, these headline stories right here aren't even directly related that we know to gangs. They just ignorant youngsters
I mean,
out there doing ignorant things.
what again? Teams, right? These are all 4 teams that
But
we
appreciate
assume shot.
the
We don't know
comment
about
though,
the
brother.
Ohio.
Appreciate the comment.
We don't know about Ohio or New Jersey who shot, but I'm assuming it was all team shootings. How are these teams getting so much access to guns? I mean, we just gotta, man, we gotta peel back the onion and the layer and start really dissecting how we already know how the kid from Georgia got his, right? I think it was his father.
Mhm.
That was his father. How's the team in New Jersey getting the gun shooting at the football game? How's the team in Ohio shooting the football game? How did the team in San Francisco shoot the professional football player? How did he get a gun? He's 17 years old. And don't get me wrong, I'm not oblivious. I know guns are accessible everywhere you can get, but I mean, that's the problem. That is the problem right there. It's too damn accessible. It's too easy to get a gun. Like, the common person's not making a gun through a 3D printer. They're not. That's not a common thing. Common thing is they're buying
That's
somewhere
true.
off the street.
I'll agree with that. I will agree with that. Yeah. Just
So,
one of them things. Just as we can do it, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're doing. I'm not sitting in my garage literally doing it just because I can. That's
so we got to start to pull it in, and it's starting to really affect everything. It's affecting what we do socially. It's affecting what we do family stuff. It's affecting everything we're starting to do.
Yeah. Let me ask this, because again, many years ago when we had some of these stories and we asked this question, you brought up an interesting maybe root cause, and Dan brought up maybe it's them games, maybe it's them FPSs, them first person shooters. Maybe it's a little too much of that hard gangster rap. Listen, I'm bumping all my old school Ice Cube, Ice T. I date myself with some of these names. Listen, but I'm bumping all my Snoop too, my J Cole, all of them too, right? But not going to the extreme where I'm going out to school, or I'm going to work, or I'm going to a game, and to a point where I don't value life anymore.
Agreed. I agree with you 100%. I mean, those things, we were able to decipher entertainment from real life.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I think a lot of these kids can't separate it. They can't decipher. They can't separate the entertainment of music that says those things and not trying to apply it to life, because they think that's the lifestyle. That's what they think you have to do that in order to live that lifestyle, right? You have to have credibility. I was talking to somebody. I was talking to Kevin the other day. Kevin Bracey.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Kevin Bracey. We were talking about kids nowadays think they need to emulate a rapper like King Von in order to get the success like King Von. Even though he passed away and died, he committed, from what I understand, horrible crimes while he was alive. Yeah. But they think you need to do all those things to have the street cred in order to be that person. We didn't have that. As much as I like Eazy-E, I didn't want to live Eazy-E's lifestyle. I didn't want to be no drug dealer or do what he was talking about. It was entertaining to us. Yeah. It was cool. It was laughs. But my path was let's get on the, go to school and go to play sports and do my thing. Never in one down that I was like, don't want to go be this a drug dealer or do whatever and talk about what's going on, boys in the hood and all that stuff. Matter of fact, we wanted to be out of that. We didn't want to be around.
Yeah, yeah.
These kids want to gravitate towards it more so.
But okay, so I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole. Then we're gonna keep going because I want to keep, because a couple of things came to mind. We knew and we know how to separate entertainment from real life science fiction. Yeah. A lot of the hardcore rappers out there, quote unquote, today and yesterday, not really living that life.
No.
Easy was.
It's the image you portray.
Right. Yeah. Easy was. And he could talk truth first person. But a high percentage of these cats that are out there talking about it not really about it. And the thing that just
But
tricked me, that just triggered me just now was, so think about the Kendrick pop out show,
yeah,
right? He was up there, and he has, listen. Kendrick has some killers up there on stage, right? So you think about, so Kendrick has some folks up
okay.
there on stage that do the thing. If
Mm-hmm.
you remember when the camera flashed over to Savannah and to LeBron, right?
Mm-hmm.
LeBron was out there chilling, listening to the music, dancing, bopping, and everything. But Savannah said, "No, you're not going up on that stage.
Yeah, exactly. You won't be associated with them.
Separate that thing. Separate from that entertainment and that real world. You can be all around it. You can talk the talk. You could, but you're not. If you're gonna walk that
Well,
walk, if you go up on that stage, and Savannah, LeBron's wife, said, "You're not going up on that stage."
yeah.
Because you
You know
could
what's
tell that he
crazy
wanted
though?
to go up there.
You know what's crazy? The
Yeah.
differences between all that is these kids nowadays are are raised by iPod or iPads,
Hmm.
iPad babies. Their reality is in that iPad, and we see it all the time. Think about it. How many kids you see the parents just put that iPod and pad in front of them and they entertain their kid, and that's it. So you got to think, we're in that generation now. That's the generation when 14 years ago, that's when it came out. It's either iPad or iPhone to entertain your child. So if that's the only thing that's in front of their face that's entertaining them, that is their reality, right? And that's why I said they can't decipher entertainment from reality. That child's been watching this iPad since he's been 3 years old, 5 years old, 7 years old, all the way to now. And me and Kevin were talking about the other day. We're all addicted to social media. We're addicts of it. We're addicts. We're all ODing on social media. We are,
Yeah.
and we are. So can you imagine an influencer mind from the age of 5 to the age of 14? He plays shooting games on that. He listens to whatever music that's his world. That's their world. And that's not what we deem as reality, but that's their reality. And that's why I said they can't decipher it. They don't understand the difference between it. So I'm just looking at it from my lens. I could be wrong, but I'm saying they don't understand the magnitude of when you shoot somebody because they've been shooting somebody since they were 7 years old on this iPad and
Yeah.
been in that world. Shooting a real
Yeah.
human being doesn't resonate as something that's different from shooting them on that game. Listening to somebody talk about killing 50 people and selling drugs and having all the money and jewelry and slapping people and being disrespectful, if they've been listening to that all so long, that's the reality. Guess what? That's how they want to react. That's how they're going to act because that's their reality. Our reality was completely different. We had a mama or mom and dad. We had teachers that would put you in check. If you start acting too crazy, pull your
Yes,
pants up,
sir.
you're not going to be. So there was always a buffer. There's that buffer no more because guess who's the people that's feeding them all that junk? It's the parents. Parents are putting that iPad in front of them and say, this is what you do. Well, I do what I want to do. Here's the phone. Go do what you do, what I want to go do. And then kids are attracted to certain things and they just buy into it, man. I think, and that's why I said they can't separate it. They really have a hard time separating it. And I don't know if our fans agree with me or not, but I really truly do believe they have a problem. Well, there's a problem.
Yeah, Shirley definitely agreeing with you on that. I see my man Rich Fives all the way from the UK here, so I want to put this comment up because he brings an interesting point up. As an outsider to American gun culture, I don't understand the mentality. I appreciate that you value your rights, but when a right is antiquated, change is needed sometimes.
Yes, 100% agree. So you tell
Ladies
me
and
how
gentlemen, Rich
come
Fives
we can't
coming
even
through
see
with,
that,
with, with a
but
good
we
one
can't
right
see
there.
internally. We can't even see that internally. We always want to. Oh, it's my right to bear arms.
Difference
No,
between
it's
right and
not.
privilege.
Yeah.
Boy, listen, if y'all don't think, listen, we got some rogue scholars here in the community that's dropping knowledge. Yeah, so back to the point because I want to talk about comments here. Just back to the point where you talked about having access to weapons and and printing guns and buying guns and whatever the case may be. Shirley's saying, listen, when she went to go buy some ammo for her gun, Big Five. Listen, I need fingerprints. I need ID checks. I need all. You got to go through all these checks and balances before my son could go to and join the clay and the skeet shooting team at his high school. We had to go through hunter safety course. he had to learn the proper way of handling a firearm, loading a firearm, cleaning. I mean, going through all those steps. He had to get certified. He had to get some documentation saying that he knows what in the world he's doing if he's going to walk around with this. And obviously, at that age, he couldn't go buy the ammo. I had to go into, I forgot where we went. Shells, Big Five, all those little Bass Pro Shop to get the ammo. How do you get this again at 14 years old?
Again, I mean, man, we're living in a world where, like we said, we already know where we come from. On the other side of town, on the south side, it was very accessible because we've seen people that had at a very young age to get. We live in a world of the dark web, right? We live in a world of people just wanting to get, people steal guns and sell guns. I mean, we had a crime here in Southern California where there were several teams that were robbing gun stores, smash and dash, going to get guns to sell them out on, I'm assuming to sell to somebody else, sell them on the street. So the way of getting it, you're talking about doing it the right way and going through the formal way and the formal process. I think everybody that's getting these guns is committing crime are not doing it the right way or going through that formal process. They're going through a different way, the illegal way of grabbing guns and grabbing ammo and all those things. And we got to admit to ourselves, that's a big business. We want to talk about drugs are a big business or alcoholism is a big business. Guns are a big business. It's been a big business forever. Now it's just starting to show the light because it's starting to affect us, right? It's really starting to affect us in the middle class and the upper class and upper middle class, because these incidents are starting to happen in our neighborhoods now. Now people really want to start paying attention.
Yeah.
I equate, if you don't make so many, there's not that many accessible. But these gun manufacturers keep cranking them out. They keep cranking them out, and I think they love it every time they see someone in this situation because gun sales go up because people have the false sense that I gotta protect myself with a gun. I think you just need to take away all the guns, and no one can protect themselves with it. Other countries do it, and they're successful, right? There's other countries that don't have gun laws that are very stringent, and you're not even allowed to get a gun.
Rich, right here. We in the UK don't have the culture and certainly don't have the percentage of the problem that we have here in the United States of America.
So, come on. I mean, when are we going to wake up? That's the question, I think. When are we going to wake up?
I'll tell you what to wake up. When somebody closer to the top, their child is directly affected. And man, that's a harsh thing to say. And I apologize, but I think I'm speaking the truth. When someone near the top of the decision tree in a particular community and in particular town, society, state, federal, wherever, when they get directly affected by this, when it's not just prayers and condolences, and it's not just on the news or on the newspaper, when it's the sheriff calling your house, or when you get the Amber Alert on your phone, right, that your child's school, public, private, whatever school it is, your church that you go to is affected.
I don't know why it has to come to that. I know what you're saying, but I wish it didn't have to come to something like that in order for us to start to make change. I don't particularly favor the two people that are candidates for president about their stand on gun laws because I don't even know what their stand is. To be honest with you, no one's saying anything about gun laws or gun, how they're going to attack this or how they're going to, I know. I think what's the NAR, the Rifle Association, NRA.
Yeah, National Rifle Association.
They're very big contributors to whoever's president. I know they give a lot of money to that.
Oh yeah, no, the NRA lobby is well funded, strong. Well funded.
So my question is, when are we going to stop taking bad money? I mean, some things, I think one of the sayings, at least when I was growing up, all money ain't good money, right? All money is not good money. So when are we as a society going to be like, we're all taking all money isn't good money because look what it does to our community and our country as a whole. We still have to keep having these stories all over the place, and it's only becoming more and more. It's just more and more, man. I'm just overwhelmed with it. It's just tiring, very tiring.
It's sad. It's unfortunate. Let's see. All I said, do we all have to be packing just to not get killed? Wow. Appreciate your dad for recognition on that one. Dr. Cox saying, don't dissuade myself, but it is the media problem, and if it didn't get the notoriety, would it continue to happen over and over?
I think,
Again,
you know what, Kevin, I think it has been happening over and over. There's just a camera on it now, and there's just coverage on it more so.
yeah.
Maybe not the school things, but there's been gun incidents that continue to happen, just like brutality keeps happening. I think now there's just a bigger light on it with the social media thing, in my opinion. I don't think it's a copycat thing or hey, it's popular, let's all do it. Even though I think that plays a little bit into it in some of these things, but I don't know, man. I think these guns things have been going on for a while. Remember, Columbine, social media wasn't that big, and we had that incident there, and then slowly but surely you had a couple more incidences, and then now it's just like all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure about your question. I'm sorry, I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate. But I think you're definitely on to something.
So we keep talking. Unfortunately, we keep talking about maybe getting some experts in here to talk about this. But I've personally been hesitating because I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't know if I'm actually scared to get a little further into this conversation from someone maybe in EMT, firefighting, or law enforcement because the ugly truth. But I don't know anyone else that's telling the ugly truth and having this deep of a conversation about these 4 stories that are affecting everyone. Gun violence is horrible. What's happening? We talk about that a lot. We talk about kid safety. We talk about, again, parents being responsible.
Yeah.
I'll bring this other story up again because we talked about this type of thing a lot as well. We talk about domestic violence a lot. Here's a story right here. Ugandan Olympic runner. You see the headline. Rebecca was set on fire by her boyfriend. Essentially was a dispute over some land that Rebecca owns, that the Olympian owns, and there was a dispute on that. Her boyfriend poured a jerry can full of gas on her and burnt her. 75% or so of her body is covered in burns. Don't know if they're 2nd degree, 3rd degree, or whatever the case may be. But again, so we go from gun violence, senseless youth hurting each other. We go into a domestic violence situation. There's need a lot of love in this world right now, man. A lot of things are going on, and again, something specific to this too. We don't have to break this down. We don't have to speculate, but we'll continue to research and find out what this particular story really is all about. But at the core, Rebecca and her boyfriend got into an argument over some land that she owns. He didn't like it. He didn't have any authority over the land, but he felt that he did. And in the argument, he dumped it. But you know how big a jerry can is? It big old gas can, right? Big old can. Jerry can full of gasoline on her. Set her on fire. I don't know.
I don't wish death on nobody, but that dude deserves to die. I mean, you tortured another human being over a frivolous argument or something that doesn't even belong to you, and you feel that you have the authority to burn another human being with gasoline all over their body, man. I think that's just a sick person. I know that I'm sure justice will be served, but I can't even.
The police got him. Yeah, police got him. Right. So young man is in custody for sure. He's suffering from some mild burns as well. So I hope they let them burns fester and seep and do whatever.
Man, I think some things are just inexcusable, right? They're just inexcusable. And I don't like to wish bad on anyone. You know, especially I'm no above no one, but damn man, that's just unforgivable. Like I can't even rationale that happening to anybody, let alone somebody if I was related to him or that. That's sick,
Mm-hmm.
man. That's a sick ass individual, whoever did that.
Right. So
that's
five distinctly different stories, but still that go to a social impacting conversation, and 4 of them relate directly to sports, where somebody should be in a place of authority to make a change or help make a change or to be a voice of change. Talking about the gun violence, talking about domestic violence. Somebody.
Well, you say that. That's
Listen,
funny. You say
November is
that a
coming.
voice
Yeah,
of
we all
change,
need to
but
vote. Everyone's wearing their vote shirts and all that right there. But man, somebody need to talk about these 2 topics here as well.
What I'm saying, you said somebody needs to be a voice about it, and that person tried to be a voice, and he got kicked out of the NFL. There's a person that tried to be a voice for it, and whether he had ulterior motives or not, beyond that, I don't know. But he tried to be a voice for it. He put himself in front to be a voice for it, and he got ostracized from that place, that position of being the forefront of it. You know, so who can we have be a voice? Like it's really, I mean, it's a catch-22. You damned if you do, you damned if you don't. But don't say anything about it. Things continue to happen, and they say you should have more influence on people and do that because of your position, the position you're in. And if I do have a voice about it, guess what? I get ostracized by the people with money. Where am I supposed to stand? So when people like us, we're all about sports in there. But when people like us in sports say, "Hey, I wish somebody would take a stance," I mean, Colin Kaepernick is not an example, then I don't know what is. Like, if I take a stance, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, I can only take a stance when collectively majority of us agree with it, right? That's when I can take a stance. You know, like Black Lives Matter and growth in the women's basketball when they all wore the short shirts, you know, that said that all wore the shirts that said they were against violence, you know, and all those different things. Or when we're all majority against domestic violence, when we're all majority kind of against it, then they'll take a stance. But if you take anything outside of the norm, even though you know it's right or wrong, you know it's wrong, and it's not agreed on by the masses, you can easily get blackballed.
Yeah.
Even with us, in our industry, if we say something too crazy that gets out there viral, guess what?
Oh, yeah.
There's going to be a problem with us at work. There's going to be a problem with somebody at work that sees it.
Yeah.
So, and we're not famous. So can you imagine somebody that's famous is making millions that still somebody's in control because somebody else has cut that check? If you say something or you do something against what they believe in and against what the majority of the collective people involved in believe in, guess what? They're gonna figure out a way to get you out. And we've seen it over and over again. Mahmoud Raif, the basketball player, when he was a Muslim, remember he didn't stand up for the prayer.
Yes.
They found a way to get him out before his time. They found how to get Colin Kaepernick. So if you go against what the masses are doing, man, they find a way to get you out. And but we want somebody to be the voice. You know what I mean? So we're in the catch-22. What did Kevin say? I'm sorry, I can't remember what Kevin said.
No, listen, we had a gang of comments coming through. We Mama's in the building. Appreciate your mom for joining us. She says, legislation with people is more concerned with humans and not just with money. I mean, truth. We had that conversation. Kevin was talking about Kaepernick. He was ostracized because the NFL money was being upset by his action.
Yeah.
Which is true there as well, man. These, I don't know, man. This is bad. It's just bad stories, man.
It's bad.
It's a microcosm of what's going. So I guess let me backtrack. Right. I mean, I try to be a glass half full dude. Man, but it's tough. I try to be a glass half full and kind of there's a light at the end of the tunnel and it's not a train coming at me. I say that a lot. I use that metaphor a lot. But man, when you send me stories like this in the middle of the evening and say we got to talk about this, and I see them, I'm like, oh man. And then I see the one about the Olympian getting burned by a boyfriend, and then the rookie getting cornered in front of a very expensive shopping mall that I've been at many a times and shot in the chest because he wouldn't give up his watch. Then you got the kids at Georgia at the high school today dealing with that.
Well, I just saying, when we're gonna start peeling back the onion and trying to figure out what's really going on, the root cause of the problem? Because that kid that shot the professional athlete, right? The team, 17 years old, right? He feels he needs to be in a situation that he needs to kill, that he needs to shoot this guy and possibly kill him for this watch. What does not he have in his life to keep him occupied where he's not thinking of it? Like, why is he not in school? That's a bigger question. Where's his parents at? That's a bigger question. Why in the hell is he hanging out in the middle of the afternoon on Times Square in San Francisco?
And what
And
is
not
and
having
what is
some
he
other
sorry
activity to do?
about? Because in his testimony right now that he's saying while he was arraigned in court today, he wouldn't look at his family. He wouldn't look at Ricky Pearsall's family as well because they were in the courtroom as well. What? Why is he very sorry? Is he very sorry because he got caught? Is he very sorry because of his actions? What is he sorry about?
I don't think that's a question that needs to be asked to him, and I don't even think he can explain what he's sorry about. I think he's just sorry about that I could possibly face jail time.
Yeah,
I could possibly face
there
this.
it is right
that,
there.
now,
Right?
now I'm all of a sudden I'm sorry. I'm sorry for my actions.
Why can't you think about that? Why can't you think about that during the incident?
What
Before
is
the
he
incident?
even doing? Think about it. What is he, a 17-year-old, doing there in the middle of the day? Like, why? I'm
still
sorry.
school
He could
hours
be
to me.
looking at his
Hey,
parents
still
all
school
he wants.
hours, or should be on it working.
I'm saying, Mom and Dad, where? How come your child wasn't in school? Oh, he's grown. He can do what he want to do. No, he's not grown. He can't do what he want to do. He's 17 years old. Oh, Mom and Dad, how come you ain't watching him wherever he's going? Because he has the ability to go get a gun, but he has not the ability to go get a bus pass to get to school. He doesn't have the ability to go carry books and go learn something in class. Why is a 17-year-old out in the middle of the street robbing somebody in broad daylight? That's an answer I would love to know. And there's no one can answer.
You will never find. We will never get that answer. You will win the lotto multiple times before you get that answer.
Yeah, because no one wants to talk about it. No one wants to peel the onion back on any of these situations that's going on. We want to talk about what's on the surface, but there's more to everything that goes on. Like you always said, there's a story to everything that goes on, right? There's a backstory to everything that happens, right? I want to know the backstory to these situations so we can prevent it. Not because I just want to be the person. I want to know so the next time we're in this situation and there's a 17-year-old out there in the middle of Union Square walking around looking for a victim, we need to understand why that person's looking for that victim and be able to prevent it. No one wants to talk about it. That's the kind of thing that kind of pisses me off about other media outlets and all that. They just want to talk about what's on the surface, just so they can go get more clicks and then get more likes and do all that and keep moving on. And like you always say, talk about the scores. Man, we need to talk about what's really going on with all these people. Domestic violence. How's an Olympian get almost burnt to death? She just got finished being a representative of her country, and she gets burnt to death. And granted, it didn't happen in America, but guess what? There's a ton of domestic violences that go on in America every day. So you can't say, oh, that doesn't pertain to me, that happened over there. No, it does pertain to you, because one, it's a human being, and two, it happens all the time in our country. It just, right now, no one caught it on film, and no one wrote a story about it. That's the only reason why we don't know about it. So, bro, when we're gonna start pulling back the onion and really trying to dive into some solid answers? Like, when we're gonna try to make a difference instead of just reporting on the news? I mean, me and you, I know we both do our community thing and do stuff like that, but I mean, it ain't enough no more. It's not enough, man. I hate to say it, but it's not.
No, that's the challenge that I have right there, because I was literally going to chime in and say, and I apologize for disrupting you, but again, we try to do our thing every Wednesday, 6:00. We try. My old boss made a statement, Steve Jobs. He said, "I'm just here to put a dent in the universe." Right. That's kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to put a dent in the universe, but this dent is not big enough, because this little 60-minute show, two dudes that have day jobs, that have families, that cobble together a little internet radio TV show, isn't making the noise to be as impactful as I think it needs to be. Again, I don't care that the Fever beat the Sparks tonight. I was watching that. That's cool. That's great entertainment. But right now I'm more worried about that family in Atlanta, Georgia, that is missing somebody from the dinner table tonight.
Yep.
I'm concerned about that.
That 14-year-old life that was mentally ill, that did the shootings, life will never be the same no more. Because he's either gonna have to go to jail and they're probably gonna try him as an adult, right? But and I know some of you people out there saying, well, he gets what he deserves. Imagine if that was your 14-year-old that did this. And I'm not speaking. I think people that commit those crimes. I'm speaking from firsthand. My brother was killed when I was young, killed to gun violence. So I know exactly the feeling. But I'm saying, man, there's two spectrums of this. 14-year-old's life is going to be forever gone because he's in the system now, and we just lost 2 people's lives, to gun violence, another 9 people hurt. When are we going to freaking try to fix the problem instead of just glossing over it and talking about the aftermath? When are we ever going to be in front of it, of these actions? Like I said, 13-year-old, he'd already been invigorated by the killing. Why wasn't he on high alert? Why wasn't there such situations in place to maybe monitor him a little more carefully? Why isn't there not a tracker on guns? Why aren't these things in place to stop this from ever happening again? And man, it's like we're not getting any traction in this world to do it. And the ESPNs and the Fox Sports and the CBS Sports, they'll never talk about those types of things. And I don't care if they say it's not their political agenda to do that, because if it's a sports-related star that's involved, they'll say it all day, every day on the news just to get the ratings up. Sometimes it's got to be about more than ratings and more than likes and more than clicks. It's got to be about a real conversation and real actions to be taken.
Man, it's tough, right? So, gun violence, domestic violence, drug abuse, drug addiction, that kind of thing as well. And so I'm leading, and then we'll move on. We'll probably close because my head is spinning right now. But shouts out to you, Dan. Appreciate you for sharing this. So when I talk about drug abuse, drug addiction, alcoholism, things of that nature, drunken driving, why are you gonna get behind? How stupid you got to be to get behind a wheel after you done had 4 or 5 shots, or when you are impaired? Driver in suspected DUI crash that killed a Blue Jackets player worked at an addiction rehab facility. The driver, this is pot calling the kettle black. The drunk driver worked at a facility telling people, don't do this. Yet and still, a New Jersey man arrested in a suspected drunk driving crash that killed Blue Jackets star forward Johnny Gaudreau, I apologize for mispronouncing his name, and his brother, Matthew, Thursday night, has been placed on leave from the addiction treatment facility where he worked. Brother, he worked at the facility making sure that folks don't do this.
To me, drunk driving is no longer involuntary manslaughter, man. It's almost like murder, right?
5 to 6 years before the crash. Man, don't get by. My 20-year-old son, my 22-year-old daughter, my 22-year-old daughter knows better than to get behind the wheel of her ride after 5 or 6 beers. With the advent of Uber and Lyft and whomever else,
another friend that's not intoxicated.
Dude, right? Everyone's got a phone. You can call somebody.
You can call somebody.
I will come get you at 2:00 in the morning. If I don't hear the phone, I hear the phone. But if I don't hear the phone, my family, my extended family, I got both my parents on the line. My kids could call their grandparents, they can call their cousins, can call their uncle, can call. It don't make sense for a 43-year-old man who worked, past tense, at an addiction rehab facility to have killed 2 people because he had 5 to 6 beers.
Sad, man.
It's stupid, man. It's stupid.
It's sad. And talk about
It's stupid.
talk about a hypocrite, right? That's got to be the biggest form of a hypocrite ever. You work at a facility that preaches all those things you just said. Don't drink behind the drive. Don't get behind the wheel. If you got a wheel. As a matter of fact, I even think they have programs at the facilities to tell you if somebody's drinking, call them and all these types of things. And you're going to be that hypocrite and drink and get behind the wheel, and then you kill 2 innocent people. I mean, it's hard to have any remorse, right? It's hard for that person to even remotely try to play victim, because you knew when you bought drink 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You knew when you took your car keys out. You knew when you got in the car, and you knew when you took off. I mean, I don't know. I don't. People say that's not premeditated. I don't know. It's preparation, that's for sure, for something bad to happen.
I have no words. I apologize for being silent, but I know I should probably chime in and keep the conversation. I have no words, man. And again, our little sports show here, talking about social impact. I will never be able. I'm never going to be able to do like the news on regular TV because I got a poker face, but I don't have a good enough poker face to not internalize a lot of this stuff. Dan, you sharing this story right here with these particular circumstances that this person actually worked at an addiction rehab facility is inexcusable. It's chock full of crazy. What we gonna do, Montell? We got to wrap this up, man. Because I apologize. I can't even keep moving. Right? I can't stay locked in. I can't stay focused. Yeah. But let me say this before we do this, man. I hope again. We come every Wednesday, 6 p.m. on the West Coast time, and we try to give y'all something to think about, something to think about. And it's based around sports because our youth tend to look at a lot of sports figures and celebrities and entertainers as someone else besides just their parents to look up to, right? They're looking as role models. And this just shows that what happens in our life also happens in their life. And no one else, I don't think, is having this deep of a conversation about drunk driving, domestic violence, gun violence, youth violence, all those things that kind of hit everyone. Can't sweep all this stuff in the closet or underneath the rug. You got to have the talk. It's tough. We can get political, we can be apolitical, we can get religious, we can get all that stuff. Montell, you just stick with me, man, because when I get into my own, when I get into these feelings like this, and then I go on these tangents and lose it. But again, it's healthy conversation, healthy debate, man. And I'm gonna let Montell take us home because that's what he do. But y'all just keep riding with us, man. No,
I think it's healthy. So, sorry, this wasn't the typical show we usually have, but I think it did need to be talked about. For me, man, always keep God first. Like I always tell you, my worst day is a blessed day. So I can never complain about anything that's going on in my life. I just celebrate it, and like I said, I always keep God first. For everybody else, like I said, please get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations because that's the way we learn. And please share that with everybody. I think that's the way we move forward.
That's it. We got some other stories we'll share next week. That I had some jokes from Montell. We'll end with some good stuff next week.
Hey Dan, I'll hit you up on LinkedIn to get in contact with you about that kid. I'll hit you up. I promise.
Y'all be good. We out.
bringing the heat, team no sleep, with champions meet. We're on the mic, taking over the game, no time for rest, no screaming for fame. Talking sports, breaking it down from the court to the field. All around town, we stay up all night, grinding on the mic, bringing news, real stories on the fly. Montell's got the stats, James got the flow. Together we're two and ready to blow. From NBA to NFL and the MLB, we got all the updates. Yeah,